Hey, happy Monday. I'm so thrilled to make this special Savvy Social collab announcement. I'm going to bring in my guests here very soon, but this is so exciting to be able to bring this all to you. So, without further ado, here is Mila Johansen. Hey there, Mila.
Hey, hi, I'm so happy to be with you again. I love being with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we want to know, do you have a real Cinderella story to share? And so this is a special announcement that Mila is making, looking for women voices, looking for women stories to be part of the Cinderella monologues. So yes, so if you're watching this now, please join in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from and let us know any questions you might be thinking of or having regarding this book compilation between Mila Johansen and I'm being able to help her with her savvy social announcements. Excellent. So to kick things off, how many of you here have always wanted to be a writer? Let us know in the comments. Have you always wanted to be a writer? Share with us. And for me, I have always wanted to be a writer, even when I was 10 years old. And let me put this question on the comment screen for you. So let us know, have you always wanted to be a writer? So I wanted to share with you something from the archives here. I'm going to zoom in. So Mila, I found this book when I was going through my stuff and going through the boxes that I have, moving and packing and such. So this is my childhood book that I made
Wow.
myself.
Wow.
And self-illustrated too, I might say, with all these fun illustrations. But my Vietnamese name at home is Tao, so I wrote about myself, Tao, and I wrote about my different physical attributes, and I even drew myself, so it's a self-portrait. I wrote about all the different fruits I loved. And it was just, so heartwarming to go through this and to be reminded of that time period. I even have like a timestamp so 1990, 1993, my mood at the time, my favorite activities. So this is like a real treasure to find, that I had this childhood dream of always wanting to write and publish and putting my thoughts and feelings down on paper, right? And I've come to know Mila through the most recent book compilation I've done with my co-hosts, Steve Garvin, Irma Goosen. They helped me to co-produce Sing Your Heart Song Summit, and from there, we wanted to create an anthology called Heart Notes, an anthology of inspiring letters to matters of the heart. So this is what you see here. And Mila was so instrumental because she was our book coach. There she is. And I love Mila's, wisdom and advice, like real hands-on practical advice about how to get your book out there because the world needs to hear your story and your voice and your message is a big part of creating this legacy that you can leave for generations and for people after you. And so it was such an adventure, Mila, to work with you, to learn all the ins and outs of self publishing, Amazon KDP. So it's really, really exciting. And now I get to further, right, collaborate with you on your upcoming book, which, by the way, you had mentioned to me was going to start off as your memoir, right? Can you say a little bit more about that, how the title came to be and how you wanted to write this memoir?
Yes, well, I've been writing my memoir for 8 years, and I've done compilation, what you call compilation books. I like to call them collaboration books. I've done them for decades with classes and people I've taught, and so it's nothing new. I think I've been doing it before the compilation thing came out as a popular way of being in a book. And I was writing my memoir, and I wrote the Cinderella Monologues into a cute little play, very funny. But I had the soul of, like, Ever After is my favorite Cinderella story, the movie, and it has such a soul of it. And every time I watch it, I almost cry because my life was like that. I was the Cinderella in every instance until I reached a certain age. And so this woman wrote to me after the play and said she was crying. She said, "I'm crying now as I write this because my life was Cinderella, and your play touched me so deeply, even though I had a lot of humor in it." And she said because her father had married, after her mother passed away, another woman who came with daughters and would treated her just like in Cinderella, had her do all the work for the daughters. And then the father died, and they brought in another man, and then he wasn't good, and this whole story. And I thought, wow, to go along with my memoir, I should have a book of stories of other women with their Cinderella stories. They don't all have to be dire. They can be like you were telling me a story about when, as a recruiter, they wouldn't trust your instincts to hire a newer person rather than the rock star, and how that person turned out to be the right person. And so we all have our stories of where we came from to where we are today. And mine was very, very dire. I went to bed without dinner often, went to school without lunch. Luckily, I was never molested or anything like that. But I did all the work from age 8, a tremendous amount of work for a kid, but it made me a worker for life. And I put that into my writing now. So it all turned out, but it's my story of being a true Cinderella in my memoir. But I think everybody has a form of a Cinderella story, and being in a compilation collaboration book is an easy way to get your foot in the door and get published with other women. And even if you already are published, I'm going into all the compilation books I can, just to put myself out there more and get more of my stories out. My story of abundance from poverty. I've been speaking all over the world on my story from poverty to abundance and things like that. So
Excellent. Yes. And so I just want to give a shout out to our audience. So Franzie's watching. So hello, Franzie. She's saying hello to us. Hello, ladies. So Franz, if
yeah,
you're
I think
watching,
she's from Paris. She's in France.
oh, awesome. Excellent. Excellent. And, something I want to point out is that, we knew that Mila and I were going to get onto this live stream and make this big announcement and just kind of like talk about the steps and how to get involved. And, oh, here she's saying, great advice. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for joining in the comments. And so if you too are watching, let us know. So yes, awesome. But we knew that this is so funny how in sync Mila and I are, because we knew that we wanted to come on and make this announcement. And so I think, Mila, you're house sitting right now, and there's this beautiful fireplace.
It was the only place I looked good. And after I set up the whole setup, I went, oh, it's a fireplace like Cinderella.
And
And
then
it's smoking.
and then I'm
Sorry?
wearing like a kind of peasant top, peasant style top here. I love this top. This is actually like hand tailored in Vietnam, so I got it years ago.
Ooh.
But I love this top. I love the sleeves on it. And for me, as a first generation immigrant, from Vietnam to America, like I feel like that ties in with the whole the Cinderella concept and being able to become a success in my own way. And I am really excited to have my story being featured in the Cinderella monologues.
I'm very excited to have your story. And there's another woman in the book too already who came over on the boat from Vietnam. She was one of the boat people. She's older than you, and her story is amazing. The boat was accosted by pirates, and how the Germans took them in and finally got them to America. And then, oh, thank you, Fancy. That's wonderful to hear. Anyway, and so she's telling her story, which is amazing. So we have a very big spattering of stories, and we're looking for more stories to put into the book. It's going to be a very professional book because I have a partner I work with, and we put together very professional books, and they look fantastic when we're done. And everyone's picture will be on the cover, either front or back. We haven't decided yet. And everyone is going to be able to have either from 2,000 to 5,000 words. And for some of you, 5,000 words might sound like a lot, but it's not once you get started telling your story. But also, Olivia, you know that most compilation books don't allow up to 5,000 words. You want to talk about that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's so incredibly generous of you, Mila. And there's something to be said about having everyone's pictures on the back of the book. That's what we did, so I love this back cover so much to highlight and give everybody recognition for contributing to the book. But I think, for this project that we did with Heart Notes, we had a word count of 750 words, right? Between 500 and 750. I've been in other book compilations before where I think you get 500, and I think the most I've ever seen is like 1,500 words. And so for you to offer between 2,000 to 5,000 is super generous, super, super generous. And so I know that it takes an editing team to be able to go in and really give it some polished attention, etc.
Yes, well, it'll be quite a process. I'll go through it first just to double check the story, and once you sign up, we'll have an hour meeting and just talk about your story and where you're at with it, and what you're thinking of doing, and then we have a pro editor who will take on the real editing job to get the commas and all our P's and Q's and everything in order.
Exactly. And so some of you may be wondering, like, wow, like, what does it take to get my foot in the door, right? Because Amelia had said that earlier. Like, where are you right now at this stage of your life? Where are you right now at this stage of your business? And how do you want this chapter, to help you, right, with advancing in your business? And so some of you may be wondering that. And I think for me, since publishing Heart Notes, like, it's opened up so many doors. It's opened so many doors of opportunities where I can go out and speak on podcasts, being interviewed. I can, have a giveaway. Everybody would love a free giveaway. And I'm able to do that now. And I'm able to go to in person events. And when people ask me, hey, do you have a business card? I say, no, but I have a book. My contact information is in the book. You can look me up in the book. And I love being able to say things like that. And so having a book is really a refreshing way to brand yourself and to get yourself out there.
It is. And the great thing is a lot of people are using their books to promote their business. And some people aren't even selling them on Amazon there as much as they're getting coaching clients, and some people are getting up in the high figures of making money with their book. And so what you'll have being in a book like this, you'll have a book to hold. You'll be able to buy as many as you want at cost. The book will probably cost somewhere between $3.50 and $4 for you to get as many copies as you want for your family and friends and colleagues. And like Olivia says, to hand out as a calling card. People love receiving books like that. And I always carry at least 20 with me everywhere I go. And sometimes I'm asked to speak on the cuff. And the great thing about speaking in front of groups is everybody in the group will buy the book. And that's a really great way to sell. And so the great thing about being a compilation book, especially, well, this one, you're going to be able to sell the book and make money yourself off of it as well. So you'll order them through me. I'll have Amazon send them straight to you. And the great thing about Amazon is you can get these samples. So before your book is even done, you can hold up your book. I know Olivia did that with our compilation book, and Heart Notes is a great book. We all wrote letters to abundance, to money. A lot of people wrote it to money. It was so funny how many people wanted to do that, And so and that one was 750 words. But you can really tell your story in 5,000 words. It will really get you out there, and your family will love getting the book to hear your story. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that this could be an excerpt that leads to another big project.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. In fact, I was in another compilation book with my friend. I helped her with her book, and a colleague, and so I'm taking that excerpt out of that, and I'm going to take that and make it into a bigger book about my journey from poverty to abundance. And I'm going to take it and go ahead and publish it on Amazon, which is something you can do with your excerpts from this book.
Excellent. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So if you're just tuning in now, I'm Olivia Vo with Mila Johansen, and we're making a special announcement looking for women authors and women's voices for the Cinderella Monologues. So join in the conversation with us. And, it's just, what are your tips, Mila? Because 5,000 words is a lot. So what do you recommend, to help us getting started with that? Like, what is the process?
Well, once you start, you won't be able to stop, and you might think 5,000 isn't enough. But then again, you may want to stay at 2,000, 3,000, and that's fine. But you'll probably find that you want 5,000, and then there's a way to edit that out. And the only way to start writing a book is to start. Put your pen on paper, your fingers on keyboard, and just start and blather it on the page. Do not think about it. Don't edit it. Don't do research. Just get your story out and then go back and fix it later. Barbara Kingsolver says, give yourself permission to write a bad book and then work on it until it's a really good book. So that's how I get everyone writing, is everyone's saying that across the board, all the writing coaches now. Just start. Just get it down on paper. And one other thing about this compilation book is I'm not charging very much, hardly anything, just to get the editing done and to get the book out there. And you want to talk about that, Olivia?
Yes. Because some of you may be wondering, oh my gosh, like, what is the investment? What is the investment that comes in? So I'm curious. I'm curious to hear from the audience. If you're watching this, what do you think this all would cost, right? What do you think the energy exchange would be to participate in a book compilation like this? So to recap, I mean, you are going to get writing resources. Franzi, thank you. Yes, excellent quote. Excellent quote from Barbara Kingsolver. Yeah. Give yourself permission to write a bad book from where you can improve. Excellent. So thank you, Fran. Thank you, Francie, for that. So back to the question, what do you think the investment would be on your behalf to be part of a community? And listen, you don't have to be a professional writer. You know, we don't have to be Stephen King with professional training, the writer's craft. That's why we have book editors. But anyway, so you don't have to be a professional writer. And you can get involved with the writers community, with Mila's community, diving into all writers resources, you know, learning strategies on how to get ideas onto paper. And then what else do you offer? You're going to be branding, right? We're going to be doing special segments on branding, how to get the book out there, book promotions, ways you can promote the book. In fact, I think you have a PDF download, Mila, for 101 surprising tips on how
Yes,
to.
and everyone will get that book, and then this will help you with your future books, get the advertising out. And also, I want everyone to go ahead and go on KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. It's Amazon's publishing wing, and start your author page right now as soon as you sign up, and then you'll have a professional author page on Amazon that follows you through all your books. The same page, you don't change your page for each book. You have the same author page for all your books, but you can change your author page as many times as you want.
How exciting is that? So you can boost your SEO through Amazon and through having your own personal book library of you as a featured author. So you'll be learning tips like that. You're going to be having a professional editing team behind you. And what else is available? Okay, you're going to learn how to do marketing. You're going to learn to be involved in a proper book launch. You're going to be involved in like lots of interviews for sure. You know me, I love savvy social streaming. So I'll have a chance to interview each and every one of the authors who contribute to
Oh,
the book.
yay.
Um,
Good.
you're going to be able to receive 10 copies, right? So like Mila said, you'll get the sample proofs, a limited edition sample proof galley copy of your own. What an amazing keepsake that would be. And then you'll get, you know, 10 automatic copies and then being able to order additional copies at cost, right, Mila? And so and so many more benefits. I mean, we've listed 10 right here, but there are so many more benefits available to you. And again, this is a living, breathing project, right? It's going to keep on going. And so be a part of it. And so I'm wondering, what is the investment you think you'd have to make today? What is the investment? What is an investment just to sit down and have a call with Mila, right? Right. So Mila, I mean, you can imagine. I mean, she's involved in tons of projects. I love the book that I don't know if this is your first book or not, but I love this book from Cowgirl to Congress, a story about your grandmother, Jessie Haver Butler. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's not my first book. I've done many books, and I was traditionally published to begin with, and then I'm going to self-publishing because I'm really enjoying the process of it.
excellent. Yeah. So you have an amazing wealth of knowledge just in Mila alone. And so if you're curious, what is investment? You know, I can tell you from experience, I've been involved with other book compilations where it's like $10,000 and
Ugh.
$2,000. Yes. And you know, my first I was so anxious to write a book, you know. I feel like, okay, gotta write a book, gotta write a book. And so I didn't realize it, but you know, there's whole book programs out there that promise you all these things and you know show you all these things and you get to have a ghostwriter, etc., right, to do it, but it costs like $10,000. So that's the one. And that I think is still ongoing for me. And then I've been in another recent compilation book, which I absolutely loved. It was very well professional done. Lots of input, not just from me, right? Because when you work in a compilation, you kind of want to have everybody's, you know, buy-in. And so letting them be a part of the discussion, letting them be part of like the design work, etc. So that was really important for me for my most recent collaboration. And I'm super thrilled with that. But again, you know, we were limited with how many words we could submit, our story topics, etc. And so that was $2,000. But Mila, what you're offering today is incredible, incredible. I think you need to release it out now. Tell
Okay.
everyone.
Well, we're only charging $4.97 to be in the book, and the reason I did that was because I knew that would be what I could afford to be in a book, and that's how I do my hour-long sessions too. I kind of lowball everything because I know what I could afford, and one other reason is it's easy for me. I've done so many of these books, and I think everyone can afford 497 to be in a book, because if you do your own book, it's going to cost you 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, or more to even do your own book on Amazon after you get the editing and the book cover and everything done. So 497 is a real good
Amazing. Oh my
deal.
God. When you told me that, I like fell off my chair. I was like, what? That's all? You're like, yeah, Olivia, I just want to make it like super available, low barrier of entry for people who've always wanted to, write or be an author, and this is the way to do it. So there's
Well,
no
yeah,
excuses, right? There's no
yeah.
excuses that like
And
time or money.
and even though I'm in a lot of compilation books already, or collaboration books, I still want to be in more. So I every time I find one that I can't afford, or someone offers me, a lot of people offer me to help them, then I'm in those books too. I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to put myself as many places as I can. I have a lot of stories. So I and also I'm doing the idea, where I take my big book. You just saw 350 pages of my grandmother's book. From Cowgirl to Congress, and I'm going to go backwards. Usually I tell everyone, write your short story first. So writing your short story would be in a compilation book like this for 497. But then if you make it into a longer book, then you can go up to 36-page book, and then 98-page book, so you can have your name on the spine and the name of your book. And then most people are opting right now to write the 120 to 135 comfortable book. My grandmother's book is 300 pages, from Cowgirl to Congress, but I'm going to go backwards on that. I'm still working on taking it into 5 different segments and putting shorter books out to go with it. Because the more books you have on Amazon, the more books you can say on your author page, the more books you will sell. And it's not about that you have more books as much as it's about building your algorithms. So I'm taking all of my longer books and making them into shorter books. And then I write the short book, a lot of them, and I'm making them into the longer books. And that's what I'm teaching everyone. I'm helping everyone do this. So by writing your shorter story into this book, you can expand it into your longer story later and publish it yourself on Amazon, which it has never been easier to publish on Amazon or anywhere than right now. And they make it so easy. They have so many attributes. They give you an author page. They let people glimpse into your book and read about 5-10 pages in there. And then you can put a video on underneath your book. Most people don't realize that. If you go to my From Cowgirl to Congress, you can see my videos under there about me doing 5-minute talks about the book. And there's so many attributes, and then there's really wonderful ways to become bestseller. This book, the Cinderella Monologues, will become a bestseller, and because I have tricks to do that. So that's exciting too, for you to be in a book where you can say, "Hey, my book became a bestseller this week," and it's all very exciting. I think becoming a published author is one of the most exciting things any of us can do, and it's all at our fingertips these days.
It really is. And I love the fact that you brought up the algorithm, this elusive algorithm that we're always trying to beat or try to get a hold of. But it's true. We are living in a digital world, virtual space. And why not? Why not take advantage of all that's offered to us through this amazing technology to be able to release books out there, boost your branding, get your message across. Who knows? Your story will have an impact on someone else, on a future generation. And especially now, since we're living in this age of COVID, how did that we how did that impact your story of success? Right? We want to hear your story from wherever you came from to success, having survived perhaps even the pandemic.
Yes, and also, mainly I want this book to inspire people. Like when that woman, 5 years ago when my play came out, wrote me and told me her story. I was so touched, and every time I write Cinderella, I tear up even now because it was such a truth for me and my family. And it's Cinderella. Even the silly Cinderella stories make me tear up. But Ever After really has the soul of it. You know, it has Cinderella with a bite, which I really like. And that's what my play had, was a little bit of Cinderella with a bite, with a lot of humor, and just to touch people's souls. You know, some people don't realize that some people grow up hungry. And my reason to write my book, I was calling it the Cinderella Monologues till I realized other women need to tell their story. Now I'm calling it Cinderella Interrupted. And I wanted to write it to inspire other people that no matter where they came from, they can become anything. And that's how I end every talk. I speak once or twice a week around the world, and I always end it with, no matter where you came from and no matter what has happened to you, you can become anything. Because I'm living proof of that, you know, and it's so exciting that nothing defines us except for what we do next.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Um, there's one other thing I want to ask you too is that, what do you think your grandmother would make of all of this? Because I know she had an influence on you. And so, what do you think your grandmother would make of this Cinderella monologues?
Oh, I'm tingling from head to toe. I still tear up when I talk about my grandmother. She died in late 80s, but I still feel close to her. I had many dreams talking to her after that, and she would be so proud, and she would flip out that she knew I had published her memoir. Her memoir was 600 pages. I took it down to 300 pages, and I may put out the unabridged version of 600 pages someday too. See, that's another aspect of it. And she would just love it. Her first book was so easy to publish. It was called Time to Speak Up. You can still find it on Amazon. And I'm teaching speech classes around that book because it's still apropos. She taught public speaking to Eleanor Roosevelt and later on to me. And her book was still could be used. It's a woman's book about public speaking, and she used it as her flag, which is very interesting. I just posted that the other day. She used it as her flag. She went across the US. She spoke to huge crowds of people, 200 to 500 to 2,000 every time. But that book was interesting because she wrote it, and she knew a man from her time with Christian Science, and they're a very close knit group. And he worked for Harper's, and he said, "Oh, I'll publish it sight unseen." He took her book, published it. Then she had it as a flag. She went across the U.S. speaking. Every single woman bought it right out of her hand. She sold thousands of copies. And that's what we can all do here with our books is use it as our flag to speak from, to tell our story from, to teach from. And that's what she did. She taught these huge seminars of public speaking. And then later in life, she took me along while she spoke with Gloria Steinem, Marlo Thomas, and Jane Fonda several times in Hollywood. And so that's where I learned all that. But that her book was published immediately, just right away. But her memoir wasn't. Nobody would take on her memoir. I think it was a little too lengthy and a little too into the woods. So when I got a hold of it, I cut it down from 600 pages to 300 pages and made it very snappy and more readable and fast read. And so that's she'd be so proud. She'd be ecstatic that the book was published. I'm sure she is somewhere.
I can only imagine. And speaking of, if you're wondering how do I work with Mila, like what's a good taste or a feel for working with Mila, we're having a speaking workshop this weekend, right on Saturday, May 14th. And so let me pop the link here on the screen for you guys all to see. And so this is incredible. This is a 1 day, I think 3 hour, right, speaking workshop on Saturday, May 14th. It's going to run from 10 a.m. Pacific to 1 Pacific. I think that's 1 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern. So definitely sign up and join. This is $27. Mila's going to give you tons of speaking tips, speaking strategies, and not only that, where to get the gigs. I mean, if you follow any of her channels, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think she speaks like once or twice a week. And so she's constantly getting gigs and she can show you how to. So definitely if you're wondering, well, I don't know Mila too much right now. I don't know how this is going to work. why not just take a speaking class and get a feel for her style, for her knowledge, etc. Because she has a way of pulling it all in. Writing and speaking are really crafts that you can go and practice and continue to work on for your business.
Exactly, exactly. And it's so exciting because I love speaking. I like it almost more than anything, speaking and writing. And now that I get to write and then speak about what I write is very exciting. And I've been doing talks. You know, it's good to have a list, you guys. You need to have a list of talks you can do. One is, I have one called Two Women, Two Eras, Two Eras, from poverty to success. And that's my grandmother's story from terrible, tragic childhood. Mine was not like that. And to complete success. And then I have another one from poverty to abundance. And then my real popular talk I give all the time is how easy it is to write your short book and publish on Amazon right now. So I have three major speaking subjects, and I have more. And then it's good to make your one sheet. And there are so many podcasters looking for all of you right now to be on their podcasts. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I speak all over the world. I speak in Spain, India, Canada, USA, of course. And with Zoom and with what we're on now, Restream, it's very exciting how far you can go and how far your reach can be. And you don't even, here's the big thing I tell people, you don't need a book to start speaking because you already know your material.
Ah, excellent advice. Yes, you already know your material. So it's just a matter of taking action, making a plan, and doing it. But with maybe a little guidance and hand holding from Mila too, right? So,
Well, there are tips to speaking. And I mean, because I think a lot of people out there now, please don't take offense, are blathering. There's not real craft of speaking. And I think I think it's in between now because right now, even for writing books and for speaking and for being on these podcasts, everybody wants chatty friendly. So that's good, but we can still have a little spit and polish on it, right? And I always say, like, start your speech with a quote from somebody because that ties you to Oprah or somebody, Stephen King or somebody, so that now you're in the realm of the famous. You can end your speech that way, but you should always end your speech if you can, even if you go impromptu to the end with a pause and then your last statement or your last word. I mean, there's just these little things that just give you a little bit of polish, even though we are being friendly, chatty these days, which everybody wants. Everybody wants your story and they want you to be friendly, chatty.
that's an amazing tip right there. And you haven't even attended the workshop yet. So, thank you, Mila, for dropping in that golden nugget. And I have to say, since working with you, I've taken so many of your ideas and applied them. So, my go to quote that I always like to intersperse, and anytime I'm speaking or writing, is this from Wayne Dyer: Don't let the music die within you.
Ah,
And so
ah.
that's why, having your heart notes out there, being part of Singing Heart Song Summit is so important, I feel, to anyone's professional and personal development, and also with writing, writing. And I just think about, you know, what is that message that keeps knocking at your heart's door, keeps knocking, waiting for you to open it up so you can let it in and write it and let it be explored and let it be revealed so other people can hear about it too. So, um, as we wrap this up, I've included the link below here. This is the link below in which you can go to sign up for a session with Mila to discuss the details of this and further. And this will also take you to the landing page of where you can see all the bullet points and the benefits of why you should be in the Cinderella Monologues. And so if you've got any questions, we'll be able to take some questions now. Oh, yes, thank you. Francie, you're still watching with us. Thank you so much for your support, Francie. Wonderful. All the way from Paris, too. Excellent. But yes, so if nothing else, just sign up, reserve your spot, right? Book that call with Mila, and if it's not in alignment, you'll get your money back, right, Mila?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's in alignment though. That so far, and one thing I want to say is once you publish a little bit, like even as a small book, a small part like this in a book, you will be so brave. You're going to want to publish more, and it will really get you going. And you'll put on your brave, and you will. First of all, you're going to be a published author, but you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to publish as much as you want. I always warn people when they take classes with me, warning, warning. When class is over today, you'll probably have many more ideas for books than when you came in here.
Absolutely. And I love the advice that you always give to us is that you can start writing with just 20 minutes a day. Set a timer, sit down, let it flow, don't even look at it, and then create that
Perfect.
habit.
Just start. And one of the main ways to start a book, and maybe you're part of this book, is to write a bullet list. If you write a bullet list, to make sure you don't miss all the points you want to do. And those can be your chapters or your headings. Some people, when they are in these books, they do a heading and then they write some of their words, then another heading, and some don't. Some it's all one stream. But if you want to write any book, just start with a bullet list and like 10, 20 things, and then pick the easiest one and write that first. And then pick the next easiest one, and you're off and running.
Excellent. Awesome. So if you're wondering again, what was the investment? What is the energy exchange to be part of this amazing book compilation project? It's $497 USD. And so the link below is directly to the landing page. So milajohansen.influencersoft.com/Cinderella dash book. Or you can just go to milajohansen.com and you'll see all of the amazing program offerings and learn more about Mila and her programs and services. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching this. We had so much fun just discussing. I always love to hear like behind the scenes and the backstories, right, of how projects come together. So this is it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
definitely reach out to Mila if any personal questions or things you'd like to discuss with her. But stay tuned for more because you'll be seeing more of Mila and I as we share this journey of the Cinderella monologues and taking it through the live stream.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.